Where is it? The Arab Republic of Egypt is in the northern part of the continent of Africa. It is a small part of Egypt. The Sinai Peninsula is actually in Asia. The Sinai Peninsula shares the eastern border with Israel and Palestine. To the north of Egypt is the Mediterranean Sea, and to the east is the Red Sea. The country has 2,450 kilometers of coastline. The country of Sudan is to the south of Egypt. To the west is Libya. Cairo, the capital of Egypt, is located in the north along the Nile River. It is one of the largest cities in Africa. Cairo sits on the same site as 1,000 years ago. More than 21 million people live there today. Cairo is a mixture of ancient and modern buildings, historic buildings, and mosques, places of worship for Muslims. Stands near mixtures of bustling cities, streets, and grassy areas. Skyscrapers jut into the sky next to the lush greenland. Because of the land is so scarce, some of these areas are used for farming. In older areas, the streets are narrow and crowded. Here, people shop at coffee, bars, tea, and coffee shops provided places for people to enjoy the local refreshment. More than 106 million people live in Egypt. Many people live along the banks of the Nile River, which runs through the eastern part of the country. Many of Egypt's cities and towns are located along the Nile because it provides much of Egypt's water. People use groundwater for cooking, washing, and drinking, and they are the river water for the irrigating crops. The rest of the countries contain mainly desert and a few mountains. Many farmers grow cotton for Egypt's large textile industry. In the fertile land near the Nile, farmers also grow wheat, rice, corn, beans, fruits, and vegetables. In Egypt City, many people work in service industries such as hotel, restaurant, and bank. Tourism is an important part of Egypt's economy. In addition, people work in factories to produce cloth and process food. Most people in Egypt speak some form of Arabic. Most Egyptians are Arab descent from people who initially lived in the Arabian Peninsula in Asia. The Arabian Peninsula is where Saudi Arabia and several other countries are now located. Other Egyptians of African descent. Many of these spoke their own languages too. Although most people live near the Nile, a few groups live in the desert. The Bedouins herd animals in the deserts throughout the country. Most Egyptians are Muslim or followers of the religion of Islam. Some Egyptians are Christian. Land. Deserts cover most of Egypt. The Western Desert covers 2/3 of the country. The Eastern Desert covers a smaller part. The even smaller Sinai Desert covers the Sinai Peninsula. All these deserts are part of the Sahara, however, and each desert is different. The Western Desert looks like a sea sand dunes with many sharp rocks. The Eastern Desert has wadis, or beds of seasonal rivers. Wadis fill up with water only after heavy rain. The Eastern Desert also includes rock mountains The Shinai has a tall mountain and deep canyons. In all three deserts, green oases can be found. The fertile Nile River Valley lies between the western and eastern deserts. The Nile is the longest river in the world. It flows from the north to the south to the north at the end of the Mediterranean Sea. Near its mouth, the river spreads out into a smaller river, forming a triangle of fertile lands. This area of land around the river's mouth is the Nile Delta. It is some of the most fertile land in Egypt. The Nile Delta stretches for about 160 kilometers, 100 miles, between Cairo and the Mediterranean Sea. In the south of Asia, the Nile forms a large lake. Lake Nasser was created in 1960s when a dam was built. Blocking the flow of the Nile is one of the world's largest artificial lakes. History. Egypt is home to one of the world's first civilizations. The Nile provided rich land for ancient Egyptians. As a result, they were among the first people to grow crops and use a plow. For about 3,000 years, 30 different dynasties ruled ancient Egypt. The kings of Egypt were called pharaohs. Some ancient Egyptians believed the pharaohs were living gods, but during the dynasties, pharaohs built large stone temples and monuments. Some, such as the pyramids of Giza, are tombs for the pharaohs between 2007 and 1000 BC. Egypt was one of the greatest civilizations in the world. Over centuries, several outside forces gained control of Egypt. In 332 BC, the Emperor Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. He founded the city of Alexandria, which still sits on the northern coast. Egypt was a part of Greek Empire for more than 300 years. In 640 BC, in 640 BC, Egypt was conquered by the Muslims from the Arabian Peninsula. The Arab Muslims made the Fustat the capital city. Many Egyptians became the Muslims. Some Egyptians remained Christians. In the 15th and 16th century, Egypt was the part of the Ottoman Empire, an empire that began what is now Turkey. In the 18th century, France tried to take over Egypt. In the response, the British exerted influence in Egypt's government because they did not want France to gain control of Egypt. During World War I, Egypt came fully under control of the British Empire. Finally, in 1922, Egypt won the political independence from Britain. Landmarks. Every year, millions of people visit Egypt to see its ancient landmarks. Some of the most famous ones are the pyramids of Giza. These are located outside the Cairo. The Great Sphinx, which are figured made of stone, also sit here. Another popular site is the Valleys of Kings in southern Egypt, near the city of Luxor. Wait a minute. Some of Egypt's most famous pharaohs were buried there. More than 60 tombs. Many of the treasures from the tombs were stolen by the robbers long ago. The tomb of Tutankhamun still has its treasures when it was discovered in 1922. Many of these amazing treasures now sit in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, near the Valley of the Kings, or ruins of the great temples built by the pharaohs. Animals. People in Egypt raise many animals such as sheep, goat, donkey, and water buffalo. Some people also raise and use camels for work. Some wild animals live in the harsh desert environments. Many of them come out only at night when the air is cooler. One desert animal is a fennec, a small fox with large ears. The fennec spends most of its days under the ground in a burrow. It comes out at night to find food. Many snakes, lizards, and scorpions also live in the desert. One type of lizard is the mini-tailed lizard. The ibex is a type of ghost. It's another desert animal. The Nile and its valley are also home to many kinds of animals. Fish swim in the river, and crocodiles can be found in the southern part of Nile. Conclusion. Egypt is an amazing country filled with treasures. Both animals and people live in its desert. The Nile River cuts through the country, dividing the desert into two parts. It is a source of waters and good family for millions of people. Millions of tourists visit Egypt each year to learn about the fascinating past and see ancient landmarks. This history along the people and animals make Egypt a fascinating place to learn about.
Good job.
Con giảng được. Dạ.